is already a bit of a mad scientist. We're going to be looking at the top 10 crossbreeding experiments that came straight out of hell. At number 10, we have the Humanzee. This bizarre experiment looked to morph human cells with the embryo of a chimpanzee in order to create a far more intelligent primate species that could potentially rival humans. Now, this may not seem like the craziest of crossbreeding experiments out there, considering that humans and primates are closely linked together, but many deem the experiment to be rather unethical. Soviet scientist Ilya Ivanov first attempted the experiment all the way back in 1930, but was unsuccessful. Then in the early 2000s, it was American scientist George Church who attempted the experiment himself, but was forced to abandon it after the scientific community deemed it to be unethical. The closest we came to seeing a super chimpanzee species was in 2002, when Chinese scientists successfully fused human cells with the chimpanzee embryo, but the project was cancelled shortly after. Perhaps they got scared of their own experiment. At number 9 is the rabbit-human hybrid. This strange experiment actually had good intentions, but still produced a pretty creepy result. Scientists injected human stem cells into a rabbit egg, which was then injected into the uterus of a female rabbit. Their reasoning for the experiment was to grow human-like organs inside of a rabbit that could be used for transplant surgeries to save lives. Now, at face value, this doesn't sound like that bad of an idea, but of course the ethics of injecting a rabbit with human cells was never a good thing and was always going to attract controversy. While the experiment was successful and showed that human organs can be supported by the rabbit embryo, the results still created a tiny rabbit-human offspring that was rather bizarre looking. Also, the idea of a rabbit that could have some human functions is something that is definitely a little concerning to think about. Next up at number 8, we have the human and monkey hybrid known as the chimera. Now, just to be clear, the chimera was an ancient creature from Greek mythology that was a crossbreed of many different animals that had been fused together to create one superior being. So the name of this crossbreed is already a little chilling. The scientists successfully implanted human cells with a monkey embryo and implanted them into a surrogate mother who gave birth to 4 human-monkey hybrid children. 3 of the children did pass away after the birth, but 1 of them survived in its distorted human and monkey hybrid state. The chimera that survived the experiment is believed to be living in a laboratory in China, where scientists are using it to study how it can be used to treat serious diseases in humans. This has obviously raised a ton of questions around the ethics of the crossbreeding experiment, but it also remains as one of the creepiest human hybrids to date. At number 7 on our list is the jag lion. While this one is a step away from the human-animal crossbreeds, it is definitely a pretty scary one. As the name implies, this animal crossbreed is the result of a male jaguar mating with a female lion. The result is a pretty interesting but sinister looking feline that shares many characteristics with both of its parents. While the body and the facial structure seem to keep a lot of the physical attributes of the lion, the skin tone, spotted body markings, and the sinister eyes of the jaguar still remain on the body of the new animal hybrid. There are only a few jag lions that exist in the world today, with some of the most recent known cubs appearing in a sanctuary in Barrie, Canada. Now, the jaguar and the lion are both pretty ferocious animals on their own, but fusing the two together has seemingly created what could be a pretty deadly predator. While all of the known jag lions in existence are apparently held in captivity, running into one in the wild would be a pretty terrifying experience. In at number 6, we have the mouse with human brain cells. Another experiment that sees human stem cells injected into an animal embryo. This creepy crossbreed saw scientists inject a mouse with human stem cells with the goal of housing the cells in the mouse's brain. Perhaps to the surprise of many, the human cells were able to successfully live inside the rodent's brain as they remained protected by the mouse's cells. The cells also managed to develop structures that are found inside the human brain and heart while living inside the mouse. While this experiment was originally conducted with the goal of finding new ways to treat deadly diseases in humans, the fact that the cells were able to live in the mouse's brain were interesting and and perhaps a little alarming to some. We've all seen the experiments with a mouse navigating the maze to find the piece of cheese at the end, but perhaps a new race of super intelligent rodents would be able to save that puzzle pretty quickly. At number 5 now we have the human-pig hybrid. While we may have heard jokes about a living, breathing pig man in shows like Seinfeld, the reality is that this was sort of already happening. Scientists at the Salk Institute have successfully implanted a pig embryo with human cells, with the purpose